The rain outside was coming down hard, each drop hitting my window like a tiny drumbeat. I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing, thinking about Leo. He had moved into the apartment across the hall just a few weeks ago. He was a musician, and sometimes I could hear the soft strumming of his guitar through the thin walls. His music was beautiful, and so was he. He had these kind eyes and a smile that made my stomach flip. Every time we bumped into each other in the hallway, my heart would do this little jump. It felt like something was about to happen, something exciting and maybe a little scary. Then there was Maya, my best friend since forever. She knew everything about me, or at least I thought she did. Lately though, she seemed different. She was quieter than usual, and sometimes when I talked about Leo, she would get this strange look in her eyes. I couldn't quite figure it out. I wondered if something was bothering her, but whenever I asked, she just said she was tired. One Saturday night, Maya called and asked if I wanted to come over for pizza. I was happy for the distraction. When I got to her place, the smell of pepperoni filled the air. We ate and talked, mostly about silly things, but I could still feel this underlying tension. It was like there was something important we weren't saying. So, Maya said, after we had finished eating, her voice a little too casual, have you seen much of Leo lately? I felt my cheeks get warm. Yeah, a few times, I said, trying to sound nonchalant. He helped me carry some groceries the other day. Maya's eyes widened a little. Oh, really? He seems nice. She paused for a moment, then a mischievous smile spread across her face. You know what would be fun? We should invite him over sometime. Just the three of us. My heart skipped a beat. The thought of Leo in Maya's apartment, with both of us, felt a little wild. I hesitated for a second, but then the idea became too tempting to resist. Okay, I said, trying to sound cool. That could be fun. Just then, as if she had planned it, Maya's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and grinned. Guess who just texted? Leo. He's asking if anyone knows where he can get good takeout around here. Perfect timing, I said, a little thrill running through me. Maya quickly typed a reply, inviting him over instead. A few minutes later, there was a knock on the door. Leo stood there, holding his guitar case, a little surprised but with a warm smile. Hey, he said, looking from me to Maya. Thanks for the invite. We all sat in the living room, making small talk. Leo told us about his music, and Maya talked about her new job. I felt a strange mix of excitement and nervousness. There was definitely a spark between Leo and me, but I also felt this weird energy coming from Maya. Then, Maya leaned forward, her voice soft. Leo, she said, have you ever thought about what it would be like to have two friends who are both really into your music? I looked at her, a little confused by the question. Leo chuckled, looking intrigued. I can't say I have, but it sounds like it could be interesting. Maya and I exchanged a quick glance. There was something in her eyes that I couldn't quite read. It was like she was suggesting something more than just a casual friendship. Well, I said, feeling a sudden surge of boldness, maybe we can show you. I moved a little closer to Leo, my arm brushing against his. The atmosphere in the room shifted. It was no longer just a friendly hangout. There was a definite tension, a sense that we were on the edge of something unexpected. Maya got up and turned on some music, a slow, sensual melody. She came back and sat on the other side of Leo, her hand resting lightly on his arm. He looked a little surprised, but he didn't pull away. What do you think will happen next? Share your predictions in the comments. The three of us sat there for a moment, the music filling the silence. Then, slowly, Maya started to hum along to the tune. Her voice was soft and breathy. I found myself humming too, and soon all three of us were making this quiet, almost hypnotic sound. Leo looked from Maya to me, a curious expression on his face. He reached out and gently took both of our hands in his. His touch sent shivers down my spine. "This is nice," he murmured, his eyes locking with mine for a moment before shifting to Maya. Maya leaned in closer to Leo, her head resting on his shoulder. I felt a pang of something I couldn't quite name. Was it jealousy? Confusion? I wasn't sure. Then, Leo turned his head and looked at me, his eyes full of a soft invitation. He gently pulled me closer, and I leaned in, my head resting on his other shoulder. There we were, the three of us, connected in this strange, intimate way. The music continued to play, and we stayed like that for a long time, just holding each other, the silence filled with unspoken feelings. It felt both incredibly right and a little bit wrong at the same time. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where your feelings were complicated? Tell me about it in the comments. As the night went on, the boundaries between us started to blur. We talked, we laughed, we shared stories. Leo told us about his dreams of becoming a famous musician, and Maya shared her frustrations with her job. I talked about my love for art and my hopes for the future. With each passing hour, the connection between us deepened. There were lingering glances, accidental touches that felt charged with electricity, and whispered secrets shared in the dim light. At one point, Maya got up and came back with a bottle of wine. We shared a glass, then another, and the conversation flowed even more freely. We talked about our fears, our desires, and the things that made us feel alive. Leo picked up his guitar and started to play a soft, melancholic tune. His music filled the room, creating an even more intimate atmosphere. Maya and I listened, mesmerized by the beauty of his playing. As the song ended, there was a moment of silence. Then, Maya reached out and gently stroked Leo's cheek. He looked at her, his eyes full of emotion. "That was beautiful, Leo," she said softly. "Yeah," I agreed, my voice barely a whisper. "It was amazing." Leo smiled at both of us, a warm, genuine smile that made my heart melt. He reached out and took our hands again, holding them tightly. "Thank you," he said. "It means a lot to me that you both appreciate my music." We stayed up late into the night, talking and laughing. It felt like we had entered some kind of magical bubble, where the normal rules of the world didn't apply. Have you ever experienced a night that felt completely surreal? Share your story in the comments. As the first light of dawn started to peek through the curtains, we finally started to feel tired. Leo yawned and stretched. "Well," he said, standing up, "I should probably head back to my place." Maya and I stood up too, a strange mix of sadness and contentment washing over me. We walked Leo to the door. "Thanks for coming over, Leo," Maya said, smiling at him. "We had a really great time." "Yeah, thank you," I echoed. "It was really special." Leo smiled back at us. "Thank you both for having me. I had a wonderful time too." He paused for a moment, his eyes lingering on mine. "Maybe we can do this again sometime?" "Definitely," I said quickly, my heart pounding in my chest. Leo nodded, then turned and headed back across the hall to his apartment. Maya and I stood in the doorway, watching him go. We turned to each other, a silent question hanging in the air. What had just happened? What did it all mean? That was... Maya started, but then she trailed off, a thoughtful expression on her face. "Yeah," I said, not quite knowing how to finish the sentence either. "It was something." We went back inside, the apartment feeling strangely empty now that Leo was gone. We sat on the couch, the silence stretching out between us. "So," Maya said finally, looking at me, "what do you think about all of that?" I took a deep breath. "I don't know," I admitted. "It was amazing, but also a little weird, right?" Maya nodded slowly. Yeah. It felt like we were all really connected, but in a way I didn't expect. Me neither, I said. I really like Leo, and I love spending time with you, but the three of us together, it felt different. Different in a good way? Maya asked, a hopeful look in her eyes. I thought about it for a moment. I think so, I said slowly. But I'm also a little confused. What does this mean for us? For our friendship? Maya reached out and took my hand. I don't know what it means, she said honestly. But I know that I care about both of you. And maybe we don't have to define it right now. Maybe we can just see where things go. I squeezed her hand. Maybe you're right, I said. Maybe we just need to be open to whatever happens. The sun was fully up now, casting a bright light into the living room. The rain had stopped, and the world outside seemed fresh and new. I looked at Maya, and she looked back at me. There was a new understanding in her eyes, a sense that we had shared something significant, something that had changed us in some way. What do you think the future holds for Anya, Maya, and Leo? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. The memory of the night lingered in the air, a sweet and slightly intoxicating scent. I knew that things wouldn't be the same between us. We had crossed a line, stepped into a new territory of shared experience. Whether it would bring us closer or push us apart, I couldn't say. But one thing was for sure, life had just gotten a whole lot more interesting. If you enjoyed this story and want to experience more immersive narratives and cultural explorations, make sure to subscribe for more. Your support helps me create more content you'll love.